That's what I call the natural state of being. Now we live in two states of mind. We either live in a state of survival or we live in a state of creation, or what we call, those lower emotions of stress in those elevated levels of emotions of joy and love. So if you think about this, 90% of people on the planet, for the most part of 90% of the time, live by the emotions of stress. And every time you have a reaction to something in your life that you consider threatening or that you are uncertain about, it's no different than one because that was being chased by a lion in the Serengeti. When the gazelle sees the lion, it turns on its flight nervous system. It mobilizes all this energy for an emergency. And when the body mobilizes all of this energy, the brain and the body gets a rush of energy, and those chemicals are highly addictive. Now, those emotions have stress that are created are the exact emotions of aggression and anger and hatred and judgment and fear and anxiety and pain and suffering and hopelessness and powerlessness. 90% of the time, people living in those emotional states, and those emotional states endorse the ego to become very selfish, very self-involved, very self-indulgent, very self-centered, very self-important, full of self-pity. It's all about the self, because when the gazelle is being chased by the lion, she's only concerned about three things: my body, the environment, and time. So when the gazelle is being chased, it says, I have to take care of my body. My body is a priority. Where I am, environment, I'm going to run, and how much time do I have to get there? So when those emotions of stress are running and the gazelle is over, focused or obsessed about its body, the environment, and time, it's no longer concerned about long-term building projects. It's not concerned about growth and repair and creation and nurturing, how to deal with an emergency situation. Now, those chemicals of stress, without a doubt, the scientific fact, begin to break the body. When it's done long-term, every organism in nature is designed for short-term stress. But when we keep turning on that stress response and we can't turn it off, now we're headed for disease. So the problem with human beings is because we can make thought more real than anything else. We can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can begin to think about our problems, some future worst case scenario. We can focus on it with the exclusion of everything else. That the brain begins to signal the body to produce the same chemicals, as if the brain was in that experience, and the body is the unconscious mind does not know the difference between the actual event that's happening in reality and the emotion that we're fabricating by thought alone. We can unfold the past better memory that's tattooed in the recess of the gray matter, and like most have come to life. And to us, it's real. And when you begin to feel these emotions that are connected to the past experience, the body believes in its past experience again. And so people begin to condition their body either to live in the past or to live in the future, and they miss the moment. Now, in that state where you're in love with life or in love with your creation, and you're exuberant because you're involved in something, the number one ingredient is you have to be absolutely present. And when you're present and you're guided by none of those survival emotions and those hormonal centers that are running in the lower part of your body, the adrenal glands and all those centers, there's no energy there anymore. There's your personality, whose thinking and feeling in the same cycle is gone. You're not thinking about that all, and all of a sudden energy begins to move right into your heart. That is not a metaphysical thing. This is a scientific psychological phenomena. And as the energy to move into your heart and you become less analytical, you become less judgmental because it's almost impossible to analyze and judge when you're in a state of love. And when you're in a state of joy, your state of inspiration and that natural state